Hey guys, today we're going to talk about collecting tokens, tokens being hard time tokens, Civil War tokens, and some of the later script and types of good for tokens that have been used through the early part of the 20th century. Tokens such as this from Mahoney's in Boston were used as a way of paying for goods and services, and you actually had credit toward an item that this dealer makes. This particular type of token, for example, was not only used as a way to pay for goods, but it was also a business card. Mahoney's, as you could tell, is a clothier dealing in wholesale, warehousing, that sort of thing. This is a hard times token, which simply means it predates Civil War times. Okay, these were commonly used during 1830s, 40s, and 50s. Some of them can be political, as a way of the same way that today that we use media, TV, and radio to discuss pressing issues in today's politics or economy. All right, so this is a hard times token. Mahoney's Clothiers. Manufacturers of every description of clothing, also dealers in cloths. Okay, so that's what this person does. And this is a relatively common hard times token. And if you wanted something nice and early from the earliest 19th century, these typically would go for about $20, somewhere around there. So that's what that looks like. So that's the only hard times token example that I have readily available here. Let's go ahead and talk about Civil War tokens. Civil War, as we all know, first started during 1861 to 1865. I got so many numbers jumbled up in my head right now, it's not even funny. And I'm sorry about the glare that's coming off of the 2x2s. For me, this is a good way of storing these. That way I could put all the information on there. So what we have here is another Boston, Massachusetts, Pulmonales, coughs and colds. So he did all sorts of different types of remedies, whether it be in syrup form or holistic. And on the back of it, Union and Liberty. So because it's in Massachusetts, it's a Union card. Okay. So this one is it's an unk, brown. You can see some luster in the protected areas, all right, but it's extremely sharp. And what this little code is, this is what they call the fold number for this token. Fold is the foremost expert, or he passed away just a short while ago. But that's his classification system, and if you've been fortunate enough to pick up a Civil War tokens book, everything is classified as such. So that's what this is. R5 being that it's R5 rarity, and there's probably about 300-400 in existence, which it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but the token community is still growing. Here's another Civil War token. This one is Fox's Casino in Philadelphia. So prefacing back to what I talked about, what tokens major function was, it's payable for goods and services. It's another monetary means, and the reason why that these merchants had created their own monetary system is at the time, because of the economic uncertainty revolving around the Civil War, a lot of the coinage that was produced by the U.S. Mint, pennies, dimes, nickels, quarters, were commonly hoarded. Okay, so you couldn't find any of the higher denominations of coins, nickels, dimes, and quarters, and everything else. Pennies were just starting to get hoarded up at that time. So nobody had money to spend. So this one is on Chestnut Street, 620 in Philly. And again, there's the fold number. And these are all 1863, which is the primary date for a Civil War token. Here is another one. This is Chicago. And this one is William Harlev. maker of trunks. As you can tell on this token, there's a picture of a steamer trunk, which is really neat. And I guess that's as good as the focus is going to get. So there you go. William Harlow's Trunks and Valises. And it's got the street in Chicago. Looks like 94 Milwaukee Avenue. And there's the fold number. It's a non-contemporary. And it's a nice EF. So, moving on from there. So we've passed through the Civil War period. Tokens were still being produced. Coins and regular money was still being saved and hoarded at that time. So yeah, the merchants were still producing their own store cards. Okay, here's a Boston, Mass. HB Stanwood. They're an importers company, as it says right on its token. 255 Washington Street in Boston. And on the back side, that's their specialty. As you can see, watches, jewelry, diamonds, any sort of fancy goods, silver and plated ware is what Mr. Stanwood specialized in. Okay, so that's what that one looks like. And the Civil War tokens I've shown you, they vary in price. You could get them as cheaply as $5, $10 for the more common ones. Especially the patriotics are very affordable unless you get the rare die combinations. But some of them can go to several thousands of dollars. At one point, I showed you a Merriam token from Boston that I was, that was worth a couple grand, and still have that today. And let's see, here's another post Civil War token. J.J. and W. Beals was a clockmaker. That's in Boston as well. And there's the address. All right. Clock establishment, pretty neat token because it's got a clock face on there, and they're starting to get more creative with these things. So that's what that one looks like. And here's a Foster and Martin, maker of stoves and the hardware and various iron products. You got an anvil on the front, Foster and Martin and Company, and they're in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And you have a stove on the back. If you could tell the difference here, so there's a Civil War token. Okay, let me go ahead and focus in here. Civil War token on the right, which is about the size of a standard penny. And then this other token, they're starting to make them in bigger sizes. So this is a $50 2x2. So it's bigger than a quarter, smaller than a 50-cent piece. So that's for size sake there. And let's see, we've covered the late 1800s tokens. Now let's get into some more of the modern, early 20th century items. First one here, well actually let me show you one more pre-1900, and this is actually a shoe token tag, Bernard and Freeman. So this would be on it's a tanner by the way, so this would be on the shoe. The lace would be strung through that hole right there. Titan calf. Best shoe leather ever. Alright, so that's what that looks like. Pretty neat. Nice red-brown mint state piece right there. And very few of those are found today. Alright, so let's get into the more modern stuff. Here's the San Francisco, California. These are typically referred to as good for tokens. And this is a international flight service token from San Francisco. There you go. And it's good for 25 cents. So it's good for because if you turn them onto its back, they'll have a cent value or a dollar value, and it'll say good for. Normally it would. And let's see, here is a scalloped edged Newport News, Virginia Old Dominion Crab Company. Not only did they catch the crabs, but they worked hand in hand with some of the canneries in the area, which is very popular in the Eastern Shore and anywhere along the Chesapeake and those areas there. So this one is good for 1 pound of oysters or crabs or whatever they dealt in. So this one's Old Dominion Crab Company in Virginia. And let's see, we got a couple more here for you to look at. Here's one from Washington State for Klinger's Bakery and Restaurant. That's in Port Townsend, Washington. Okay, this one has a die cut of a moon right in the middle, which is pretty neat. And let's see, the good for is 5 cents in this one. The good for tokens during the early 20th century is extremely affordable. You could get them for as little as $1 or $2, and they go up from there. Usually you don't see a whole lot of them that reach $1,000. And here's my final one, a nice mint state Seaview, Virginia JT Outen or Outen. I don't know how it's pronounced. Okay, that's what that one looks like. JT Outen and brothers. There we go. Good for 10 cents in merchandise on this one. Alright, so that wraps up tokens, collecting otherwise. Check out the link below. It'll go right to the website that I've dedicated for token collecting. If you're tired of regular numismatics, collecting just regular coins and stuff, definitely check it out. I use token collecting as something to do other than collecting coins, and it could be a very refreshing take on collecting numismatics as a whole. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later and see you on the next one.